I'm sharing my screen. Please check if the screen is visible. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yesterday we have solved few problems. Let us continue solving few more problems of context-free grammar. Yes, all of you mute yourself. Okay, take down next problem. Language L is equal to A raised to I, B raised to J, C raised to K, where I is equal to J or I is equal to K. I is equal to J or I is equal to K. So if you remember, yesterday we have seen one problem, A raised to I, B raised to J, C raised to K, where J is equal to I or J is equal to K, right? That problem must be there in your notebooks right now. So all of you just open that problem in your notebook. All of you open that problem in your notebook. Yesterday's problem. There are some network issues at my end, so I'm not able to open that problem. So all of you open that problem. In that problem, you can see that we had written condition for J is equal to I or J is equal to K. So in this problem also we have I is equal to J, which is nothing but J is equal to I only. So for that problem will behave same because we have A raised to I, then B raised to J, and then C raised to K. Sequence of string is first I'll have A's, then B's, and then C's. So the first part of problem will remain same in this question also. What is our question today? A raised to I, B raised to J, and C raised to K, where I is equal to J or I is equal to K. So I is equal to J already we have solved yesterday, right? So what will be the strings for I is equal to J? We have seen this yesterday. So we may have null, then C, then 2 times C. Then we may have AB or ABC or ABCC, or we may have AABB or AABBC or AABBCC and so on, right? We have seen this yesterday. Today we have one more condition that is related to I is equal to K. I is equal to K. So in that I and K can take value 0 or I and K can take 1 or I and K can take 2. Please mute. Please mute. Students, please mute yourself. Okay. In that J can again take value 0, 1, 0, 1, 2. Here also J can take value 0, 1, 2. Here also J can take value 0, 1, 2. Correct? So now if the value of I and K are 0 and J is also 0, we may get string like null. When I and K are 0 and J is 1, what string we will get here? Can anyone answer?
B.
Yes, B. Then we may get 2 times B. Then the value of I and K is 1. Then the value of I and K is 1. What string I can get if the value of J is 0?
AC.
Very good. The string will be AC, or I may have string like ABC, or I may have A double BC, or I may have AACC, or AABCC, or AABBCC, and so on. Right? So the first part of grammar remains same like yesterday. We have solved that grammar yesterday. That is S is equal to XY. This SY is for I is equal to J. This XY is for I is equal to J. So what will be my X? my X will be that number of A's should match with number of B's. Number of A's should match with number of B's. Whereas what will be my Y? It will be any number of C's. It will be any number of C's. So we have seen this in last lecture, right? In this we will get I is equal to J. Now we have one more here for which we are writing the grammar today. That is I is equal to K. That is I is equal to K. Now my dear students, when we are writing I is equal to K, see, now I cannot write here a pattern of I is equal of something of sort UV. Yesterday we had written something of sort UV, right? Now if I take U for pattern of A and C, and for V if I take pattern of B, then in my string first I will get A's and C's, and then I'll get B in my strings. Are you getting this? So if I write UV over here, and for U if I try to repeat the pattern of A and C, and for V if I write B, then the sequence of string will be I'll get A's, then I'll get C's, and then I'll get B's. But in my original string, if you observe, I should first get A's, then I should get B's, and then I should get C's. Are you getting this? So this won't work. UV won't work here in this case. So see what I do over here is I pass this to another non-terminal. I call it as only U. I call it as only U. Now this U will help me pattern of I and K. This U is going to help me with the pattern of I and K. So in this U, what we will be doing? First we will have pattern of A and C. So whatever number of A's and C's you wish to balance, you are going to balance with this AUC. This will help you to maintain I is equal to K, because what is I? Number of A's. What is K? Number of C's, right? So when I write U is equal to AUC, I am trying to maintain I is equal to K. I am trying to maintain I is equal to K. Correct? I'm trying to maintain I is equal to K. Now, once all my A's and C's are balanced, I may have some B's in between. I may have some B's in between. So to get that between pattern, I shift this U to another non-terminal, suppose capital B. And this capital B will now give me all possible combinations of B. This will give me now all possible combinations of B. So now in my string, I'll first have A and C at the outside, and then I'll have B. Now let us take some examples and see how the strings will get accepted. If I have only null, see, we'll not discuss about I is equal to J, because for acceptance of I is equal to J, already we have solved the strings yesterday for this part of our grammar. So let us discuss only for this part of our grammar, which is I is equal to K. So suppose I am having null string. How I'll get null string from this? U is equal to B and directly P is equal to null. Then null is getting accepted. How B will get accepted? B or 2 times B. How these strings will be accepted? Suppose I am getting 2 times B. So first I'll apply U. Sorry. So first I'll apply S gives. Yeah, first I'll apply S gives U. Then I'll apply U gives B. This is S gives U. Next I apply U gives B. Then I apply B gives null. Then I apply B gives BB. Then I apply again B gives BB. And then I apply B gives null. So this is how my all combinations of B's will get accepted. Now suppose if I have A's and C's in my string, I'll take one example of that form also. Suppose I have A, B, C kind of string. So first I'll apply S gives U, then U gives A, U, C. So I get my first A and first C. Then again I apply U gives AUC, so I get my second A and second C. Now I need B's in between, so I'll jump from U to B using U gives B, U gives B. Then I'll apply B gives BB. So I've got my second B also, the middle B also, and then I'll make B gives null. Then I make B gives null. So my string AA BCC is also getting accepted. So with this example now, what becomes my non-terminals? S, X, Y, U and B. What are my terminals? A, B and C. And starting symbol of my grammar is S, which belongs to B. This becomes our set of production rules. Is it clear? Yes, students, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any
Yes,
query?
yes, sir.
Any query? See closely observe in this problem for I is equal to K. I should balance number of A's with number of C's, and B's are coming in between, right? In earlier problems, that was not the case. We were solving either I is equal to J or J is equal to K. That was easy. But here I want to balance I is equal to K. So when I'll finish with my recursion, I cannot give the pattern of B after that. So I cannot use two non-terminals over there. So first I work out all A's is equal to C by writing U is equal to AUC. So first we'll work out all I is equal to K. I'll balance all A's is equal to C's. And once they are done, now if I want to add B's in between, then I'll replace that capital U with B. Then I'll replace that capital U with capital B. And then with that capital B, we'll add all possible combinations of B's in between. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all of you take down. I'll wait for 2 minutes. Write down the strings, write down the production rules, three tuples, and solve these two strings. While solving this second string, also make sure that you are mentioning the production rule in the bracket that you are applying. Completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let us take one more problem now. All of you take down the problem. L is equal to A raised to I, B raised to J, C raised to K, where J is equal to I plus K. A raised to I, B raised to J, C raised to K, where J is equal to I plus K. Now see here, all of you pay attention. In this problem, we have to maintain that value of j is found equal to I plus k. What is j? J is nothing but number of b's. J is nothing but number of b's. What is I? I is number of a's. And what is k? K is number of c's. So number of b's should be equal to number of a's plus number of c's. What we need to maintain? Number of b's should be equal to number of a's plus number of c's. Now it is not told that what can be the value, minimum value for this I, j and k. So they can be 0 also, right? So let us take all the possible values for j and then also work out what could be the probable values for I and k. Now suppose if the value of j is 0. Now suppose if the value of j is 0. What can be the value of I and k then in that case? Yes, can anyone tell me?
0.
Correct. It has to be 0, right? I and k has to be 0, then only j will come 0. Here will not have anything called as negative power. Okay, so we have that symbols only, right? So here compulsory that I and k has to be 0, then only that j will become as 0. Then only that j will become as 0, right? So when all are 0, we'll get some string, right? That is null string. Now consider the value of j is 1. Now consider the value of j is 1. Now when the value of j is 1, either my I will be 1 and k will be 0, or my I is 0 and k is 1. Are you getting this? Yes, students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So to make my j as 1, how j will become 1? Either I will be 1 and k will be 0, or I will be 0 and k will be 1. This will be the only two possibilities in order to make my value of j as 1. Are you getting? Yes. Now, yes. Now if my value of j is 2, if my value of j is 2, what could be the probable values for my I and k? Either I can be 2 and k will be 0, or I will be 1 and k will be 1, or I is 0 and k is 2. Are you getting this, my dear students?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
an yes? What will be the case with
Yes, sir.
I is equal to 3 now? Sorry, not I is equal to 3. J. What will be the case with j is equal to 3 now? I can be either 3 and k is 0. I can be 2 and k is 1. I can be 1 and k is 2, and I is 0 and k is 3. I hope you have understood how I am making combinations of I and k in order to get my total of j as either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3. Right? Now based on this, if I try to write the strings for my language, first case, when my j was 0 and I and k are also 0, my string generated will be null, right? So for this case, my string generated will be null. Second is when my j is equal to 1. So when my j is equal to 1, that time either I will be 1 or k will be 1, right? So when my I is 1, that time my string will be AB, and when my k will be 1, my string will be BC. So I am getting two strings. For these two combinations, I am getting two strings when my value of j is equal to 1. Are you getting this? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now when my value of j is 2, I'll be getting three possible strings, either AABB or ABBC or BBCC, which is nothing but my these three values. When I is equal to 2, k is equal to 0, I'll get AABB. When I is 1, k is 1, I'll get ABBC. And when I is 0 and k is 2, I'll get string like BBCC. Yes, that are my three strings when my j is equal to 2. Next is my j is equal to 3. When my j is equal to 3, I get four possible strings. right? What are those four possible strings? Either A, B, 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 or A, B, 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 C, or A, B, 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 C, C, or B, 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 C, C, C. While I write these strings, I'm only making sure that I'm maintaining my I and K for respective number of A's and respective number of C's. And J is 3, so every time I'll have 3 B's. And the sequence of string is that first I'll have A's, then I'll have B's, and then I'll have C's in my string. Is it understood? Are the strings understood, all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, now we need to write grammar for this. So here, if you closely observe, if I am adding a B in my string, either with that B, I should have a A, okay. If I am adding a B in my string, okay. So with that B, either I should have a A in that string or I should have a C in that string be added at that point. Then only the count will be maintained. The moment I add a B, a corresponding A has to be added or a corresponding C has to be added. Then only the count of J is equal to I plus K will be maintained. Are you getting this? What I'm trying to explain? If I'm adding a B in my string, then either I should add a in my string or I should add a C in my string so that the total count can be balanced. We can add A also, we can add C also. So we need some pattern where I'm having A with B and I need some pattern where I'll have B with C. And now in this sequence, we know that first A's and B's will come. So in my string, first this part will come. And then in my string these parts will come, because sequence of string has symbols, first A's, then B's, and then C's. Are you getting this? Now if I try to write grammar for this input, see how it becomes. So S is equal to, I take two non-terminals X and Y. X will try to maintain for every B an equivalent A. X will try to maintain for every B an equivalent A. So how we will do that? We all have seen this now. So if I add a B, I'll add a corresponding A. If I add a B, I'll add a corresponding A. On the other hand, Y will try to maintain for every B a corresponding C. For every B a corresponding C. And we all know that in the sequence of string, first we are having A's, then B's, and then C's. So if I am having pattern of X first, then first all A's and B's will be done. And then when I'm having pattern of Y in my string, then all B's and C's will be done in the string. So the total sequence of A's followed by B's and C's will be maintained. And the moment I add a B, either A is getting added or C is getting added. Are you getting this? So if I take some strings for checking for its acceptance, suppose I take A, B, B, C kind of string, how it will lead to acceptance? First I'll apply S gives XY. Then from this X, I'll try to generate this. And from Y, I'll try to generate this. So from X, I'll apply AXB. Next, this Y is there. Next time I'll apply X gives null. Then from Y, I apply BYC. And next time I apply Y gives null. So my string ABBC is getting accepted. Suppose if I have some string in which either A or B something is absent, suppose it is BBCC kind of string. How this will lead to acceptance? First I'll apply sqs xy. Now here I see that I have only B's and C's. I don't have A's. The moment I don't have A's, then X should not produce anything. X should not produce anything. So directly I'll make my X as null. Directly I'll make my X as null. From Y I'll apply BYC. From Y I'll apply BYC. Again from Y I'll apply BYC. Again I'll apply BYC. And finally I'll apply Y gives null. So my BBCC string will be accepted. My BBCC string will be accepted. So what will be our 4 tuple here? Non-terminals are S, X and Y. Terminals are A, B and C. And starting symbol of our grammar is S, which belongs to non-terminal. And these are our production rules. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, so all of you take down these strings in your notebook, write down the production rules, then write down the 3 tuples. After you write 3 tuples, you can solve 2 strings. I'll wait for 2 minutes. Yes, done students? Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll wait for 1 more minute. So if someone is still writing, can complete it. Mute, 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 mute. Done? Now let us see. So after this numericals, let us see one theorem today. Small theorem. Okay. We will be able to complete it in this lecture itself. Theorem related to grammar. First, take down the statement in your notebooks. Then I'll teach you the proof. All of you take down the statement of this theorem. All of you take down the statement. If L1 and L2 are context free languages, then the languages L1 union L2, comma L1 L2 and L1 star are also context free languages. So the statement that we have to prove is, if we have two languages, suppose L1 and L2, these languages are context free languages. These languages are context free languages. Then union of these two languages, concatenation of these two languages, and cleans of a context free language is also a context free language. Is also a context free language. Is the statement understood, students? This sounds very similar to that of our Clean's theorem, right? So in Clean's theorem also we took
Yes, sir.
two machines, and for that machines we used to apply union, concatenation, cleans. But here now we will be dealing with grammar. Here now we will be dealing with grammar, and as it is a context free language, we will be dealing with context free grammar. We will be dealing with context free grammar. Okay. So in this proof, all of you just pay attention. I'll give you time to write this proof. All of you just pay attention. Don't write anything in notebook right now. Just pay attention on what I'm writing. Just focus on the screen right now. So proof. So in this proof, suppose we are assuming that there are two grammars, G1 and G2, for our corresponding languages L1 and L2. Now this G1 grammar is 4 tuple VN1, VT, S1 and P1, whereas my G2 grammar is VN2, VT, S2 and P2. What we should understand here, students, is VT is same. I told you, you can relate this VT to your alphabet. So in order to make union, concatenation and cleans over that language, they should be working on same alphabet. They should be working on same alphabets. So here in the context of grammar, they should be working on same terminal symbols. So it cannot happen that my grammar G1 is based on terminal symbol A and B, and my grammar G2 is based on terminal symbol 0 and 1, and I'm trying to create a union out of it. It won't happen, right? So when I can take a union or concatenation, when the underlying terminal symbols of both the grammars are same. Underlying terminal symbols of both the grammars are same. So this G1 grammar, okay, is a context free grammar for language L1, whereas this G2 is the context free grammar for language L2, for language L2. And we also assume that there is no non-terminal common in between two. If you remember in Clean's theorem, when we took two machines M1 and M2, there the intersection of this set of states was found out to be equal to 5. So we don't have any state common in between two. Similarly, when I'm defining two grammars G1 and G2, G1 will have its own non-terminals and G2 will have its own non-terminals. There will be absolutely no relation between the non-terminals of G1 with G2. So it also implies us that the intersection of non-terminals of first grammar with the non-terminals of the second grammar is equal to 5. Is equal to 5. Now we need to go ahead with construction of three grammars. That is grammar for union, grammar for concatenation and grammar for cleans. So first we need to construct grammar for union, that is GU grammar. So GU grammar will be VNU, VT, SU and PU. What it will be? VNU, VT, SU and PU. So we need to define now this 4 tuple of our union grammar, which will be corresponding to our language L1 union L2, which will be for our corresponding language L1 union L2. Now, my dear students, for or, if you remember, we have seen right now this problem, I is equal to j or j is equal to k, right? So when we used to have or, we used to solve grammar for this part, we used to solve grammar for this part, right? And from starting symbol, we used to write this or this, correct? This we have done right now. So when I am constructing for my union machine, if I want to take it for or, so either it will go to S1 grammar, G1 grammar from S1, or it will go to G2 grammar from S2. And if I follow G1 grammar from S1, I can generate a string. And if I want to follow G2 grammar, then from S2, I can generate that part of string. Right? So you can imagine that this I is equal to J was something S1 for us, and this J is equal to K was something S2 for us. Then how we wrote that first? S gives S1 or S2. Is it understood what I have tried to create here? So if we have or, it is as good as SU is equal to S1 or S2. This is one new production rule that we add in our grammar. This is one new production rule that we add in our grammar. So what will be the total production rules in union grammar? What will be the total production rules in the union grammar? It will be PU. It will have all the production rules of P1, because if I am generating strings from S1, for that I'll need production rules of P1. Plus it will have all production rules of second grammar. So that I'll take from P2. Because if I want to generate strings from S2, I need from productions from grammar G2, which is P2. And one more production rule that we have added, that is SU gives S1 or S2. SU gives S1 or S2. Is it understood, students? How did I construct PU? That is production rule tuple of union. Any doubts? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it
Yes,
understood,
sir.
students, how we took union to generate union grammar, union of two starting symbols?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, so what will be any other tuples now? Yes. What will be our V and U? Non-terminal. All the non-terminal of first machine, sorry, first grammar, union all the non-terminal of second grammar, union the additional non-terminal that we have taken for union, that is SU. Terminal will be same as that of our grammar G1 and G2, correct? Starting symbol of our union grammar is SU, which actually now belongs to PU. So we have defined our four tuple. So we have defined our, so this was our first construction of union. This was our first construction of union. Is it understood? So these are our four tuples of union. Yes, is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, second, I want to construct for my concatenation. Suppose I am constructing now for my second machine. Suppose I am constructing for my second machine now. That is grammar for concatenation. So I call it as VNC, VT, SC, and PC. This is for my L1 and 2. This is for my L1 and 2. Can anyone tell me what will the production rule that I need to add for concatenation now? SC gives what? Anyone? Yes.
S1 and S2.
S1 and
S1
what?
S2.
S1 S2. Very good students. It will be S1 S2 because in concatenation, first I need to generate all the strings from my S1 part, and then I need to generate all the strings from my S2 part. So it will be S1 S2. Very good. So what will be my total production rules now? PC. They will be all the production rules of P1 because from S1 if I want to generate some part of my string, I'll require P1 from my grammar G1. Similarly, I will require P2 to generate all the strings from my S2 part. And additionally, we'll require this production rule SCQs S1, S2. So this becomes my PC tuple. What will be our VNC? It will be all the non-terminals from first union, all the non-terminal from second, and the additional non-terminal that we have taken for our concatenation, that is SC. What will be our terminal symbol? It is same as that of grammar G1 and G2. What is starting symbol of? It is SC for our concatenation, which is now belonging to, sorry, here I made a mistake. This should belong to VNU. Similarly, this should belong to VNC. Yes. Are both the constructions understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you can take down this much. Then I will tell you the third one because I need to go to a new page. So first you take down this much proof. All of you write down this in your notebooks. I'll wait for 5 minutes. So just I'll repeat. We take two grammars G1 and G2. G1 is Vn1 Vt S1 P1, whereas G2 is Vn2 Vt S2 and P2. We assume that there are no non-terminals common in between the two taken grammars. So Vn1 intersection Vn2 is equal to phi. Then we try to construct three grammars GU, GC, and GK, out of which we have done two up till now, GU and GC. GU is the union grammar for language L1 union L2, whose four tuples are VNU, VT, SU, and PU. For generating this grammar, first we write its production rule. So we take first production rule in the form of SU gives S1 or S2, as this is a union machine. And the total production rules will be P1 union P2 union this new production rule that we have added, that is SU gives S1 or S2. Our non-terminals VNU will be all the non-terminals from first grammar union all the non-terminals from second grammar union the SU non-terminal that we have taken for this grammar. VT will be same as that of grammar G1 and G2, and starting symbol of this grammar is SU, which is belonging to VNU. The second grammar that we constructed was for concatenation GC, which is nothing but VNC, VT, SC, and PC. Here we add the production rule SC gives S1, S2, as this is a concatenation. Then our PC production rule is all the production rules of first grammar P1 union all the production rules of second grammar P2 union SC gives S1 or S2. Where our VNC will be all the non-terminals from our first grammar, that is VN1 union all the non-terminals from our second grammar, that is VN2, and additional non-terminal that we have taken in this particular example, that is SC. VT will be same as that of grammar G1 and G2, and starting symbol of our grammars will be SC, which is belonging to VNC, Is it clear? Have you completed writing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll open a new page. So we'll construct now our third grammar. All of you pay attention. We'll construct now third grammar, that is GK grammar now, which will be VNK, VT, SK and PK. Here we write production rule. SK gives SK S1 or null. SK gives SK S1 or null. I want to repeat that S1 again and again. This is for L1 star. So in L1, I'll have starting symbol S1. So when I want to repeat that part of my string again and again and again, how I can repeat? SK gives SK S1. So if I want to repeat it 2 times, I'll apply SK gives SK S1 2 times. And then finally SK gives null. So when I have my first string as null, directly SK gives null. When I want that string once, first SK gives SK S1, then SK gives null. When I want it twice, SK gives SK S1, again SK gives SK S1, then SK gives null. Are you getting this? Again I repeat, if I want that string once, directly, when I want that string 0 number of times, directly SK gives null. When I want that string once, SK gives SK S1 first time, then SK gives null. So the string will be generated once. When I want it twice, SK gives SK S1, again SK gives SK S1, so it will be 2 times, then SK gives null. So S1 will come 2 times, so I'll get 2 occurrences. Are you getting this? So now what will be our production rule PK? Our production rule PK will be all the production rule in P1 union the additional production rule that we have added here. Here we have only one grammar L1 and G1 grammar for cleans. We don't have second machine over here, right? What is our VNK? All the non-terminals from first grammar union the additional non-terminal that we have taken, that is SK. Correct? What is VT? Same as that of G1 grammar. What is starting symbol? It is SK, which is belonging to now. Okay. Is the third construction understood? This is our 4 tuple. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can take down this much. Completed? Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Numerical based on this theorem. There is one numerical based on this theorem. We will be discussing this in next lecture. It won't be possible for us to complete. We have only 2 minutes remaining. So there is one numerical that how we can construct a grammar as an application to this particular theorem. So that we'll discuss in next lecture. Just hold on for a moment. All of you open this. You have this with you. Yes, tutorial booklet. Open tutorial booklet. Take down questions for tute number 4. Tute number 3. You have to write Clean's theorem part 1 and Clean's theorem part 2. Yes. What was your tutorial number 3? Clean's theorem part 1 and Clean's theorem part 2. This was already given to you long back. Tutorial number 4. So from booklet, mention the, take down the question number. Question number 35. Question number 35. Question is explain different types of grammar with suitable example. So I have taught you. So 4 types, all rules for alpha and beta and their examples. Then question number 36. That is also taught to you. Question number 37. Then question number 40. All this I have taught you. Question number 45. In question number 45, there are total 8 problems, out of which 3 I have solved. 5 are for your homework. Question number 45. Okay, solve this much, then I'll give later on. All of you have noted this? Question number 35, 36, 37, 40 and 45. Noted?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me take the attendance. Just hold on for a moment.